Good afternoon, everyone. This is Amanda with the Content Marketing Institute. Thank you so much for joining us today. If you don't know what the Content Marketing Institute does, we are the leading global training and education organization all around content marketing. So again, thank you so much for joining us today. In fact, I would absolutely love it if in the comments you let me know where you are joining us from today. We have quite an international audience, so I love to share where you all are joining us from today. So today's discussion, we are going to get out our crystal balls, we're going to dust them off, and we are going to talk about our predictions for what's going to happen in 2021. We all know how 2020 went, so predicting the future can be more difficult than ever now. And actually, today's discussion is based on an article that we published last week where we asked over 100 content marketers what their predictions are for 2021. So we are going to dive into that today. Before I bring in my guests, we absolutely love when our community, when you guys get involved, when you comment, when you interact. In fact, I see we're going crazy here. We have people from Ireland and Egypt and Brazil, Mexico, Romania, the Philippines. So that's super awesome to see all you guys joining us today. Turkey, amazing, guys. So before I introduce my guests, if you guys comment today, like I said, if you ask questions, we love to hear from you guys and interact with you guys. We'll try to get them today. And if you do comment, you'll automatically be entered into a random drawing to win a Content Marketing Institute mug from us. So really exciting. And we just love to hear from you guys. So we hope you'll engage with us today. All right, my guests, let me bring in my guests today. We have our super awesome general manager here at the Content Marketing Institute, Stephanie Stahl.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, everyone. It's great to be here.
And we have our creative genius, Joseph J.K. Kalinowski, the creative director at Content Marketing Institute. Hello, J.K.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me.
All right. So as we said, we published this article last week. We asked 100 content marketers what they thought. Stephanie, after going through the predictions, are there any themes that surfaced from all of that?
Oh my gosh, yes. I mean, we've all been so fully immersed in this digital world since the spring now that, and that's not going to change anytime soon. But what it has changed are our routines, our ways of learning, our ways of connecting with people, and ultimately our content marketing. And so a lot of the themes that we saw emerge for 21 predictions were based on some things that started in 2020. And that is creating content that is more empathetic, more human, more inclusive, more purposeful. So those were some really great themes that emerged in many of the predictions. And like I say, we've seen a lot of examples, great examples of all of those things this year. And I think that our communities, our readers, our customers, our prospects, this is something that's going to be expected, even demanded, quite honestly. So those were the key themes that really stood out to me this year.
And I know, speaking of empathy, JK, you had an interesting prediction. Why will marketers have to go beyond saying, we're all in this together this year or next year? I guess.
Yeah, I just kind of going off of what Steph said, empathy is a huge factor that a lot of brands are going to have to deal with now in their marketing and specifically in their content marketing, because we're getting blanketed so much with all of the "we're in this together" to the point where it's almost, okay, I get it, we're in this together, but how are you really going to connect? I think that, as I said, I think brands are going to have to get a little bit more granular and a little bit more personal and specific with their marketing message to really connect with their audiences, because there's obviously there's the "we're in this together" fatigue that's starting to happen. We're seeing it all the time. But we're starting to see larger brands really start to kind of get onto this more personal vibe that's starting to happen. Case in point, I'm sure you've all seen the commercial, which I think is absolutely wonderful, that's almost like a mini story from Amazon about the young lady who's gets the leading role in, or leading dance role in her ballet, and it gets canceled due to COVID, and all her neighbors kind of get together, and her little sister does this whole rooftop show for her, and the neighbors have lights that they're shining down on her, and there wasn't one word spoken to the audience, like third person, like looking at the camera. It was all this kind of like, you're a person sitting in their kitchen seeing this young lady go through all these emotions of finding out that everything's canceled, and so they feel what we're feeling, and I think that makes a real cool emotional connection, which I think a lot of brands are going to start doing.
Yeah, we have Marissa here who says, you know, empathy is a big theme. The challenge is for marketers and business leaders to figure out what that means for their organization. I think it was Michelle Lynn had an interesting prediction where it was, you know, conversation, like one-on-one conversations are going to be more important than ever. And I don't know why that really struck me, like really, you know, whether it's your customer, just one-on-one conversations with people. I think that can really help, you know, with the empathy piece of it as well.
Yeah, I agree, Amanda. I mean, the fact is, a lot of people who wouldn't normally get on camera to have a conversation, you know, have been forced to this year, right? And it's changed everybody's comfort level. I think it, you know, has caused all of us to sort of crave that interaction even more. Like, I love being able to look at you in the eyes and talk to you, and you too, JK. I mean, it's been great, despite, you know, probably some exhausting meetings and that people are going through, but just to have this ability, and for people who wouldn't normally feel comfortable with a camera in front of them, are a lot more comfortable now, where it's okay for us to be unscripted, you know, it's okay to be unpolished, it's all fine, you know, we're just more human this way. So
absolutely.
Yeah, I thought a couple of other people commented on the video aspect of it, and you know, I think it was Ailey Judge who called it like reality content. So now we all have our threshold for lo-fi content, like we accept it more now. So, and everyone keeps talking about let's do video, and I always say just start. Everyone's always just afraid, but grab your phone and just do it. Like, now is the perfect time. Like, people will accept it, I think, now more than ever. I think you still need to like think a little bit, so it's not just a boring interview, but you know, if you have an idea, just, you know, absolutely, this is the time to try it for sure.
For sure.
Right.
So Stephanie, I noticed you didn't have any predictions included in the post, but, you know, what do you see happening in your crystal ball? I hope it's better than everybody else's this year for next year.
Well, my crystal ball has been in the shop, but no, our head of editorial, Kim Mutzos, asked when she was finalizing the article, you know, hey, do you want to include one? And some advice that we often give or get in the content marketing community. And, you know, since my byline was on it, since I was the one doing the asking for many, many people to contribute, I just decided I was going to let the community be the hero of the story in this case, and not necessarily me. But I am full of ideas and predictions and could chat all day about it. But you know, if we look at the intro of the piece, you know, where we say 21 will be perfectly imperfect. I mean, that's really it. That's how it's going to be. It's going to be perfectly imperfect. And while we all hope that the world will be safer, that we get back to some kind of, you know, normal routine, or what, you know, we used to consider normal, the fact is it isn't necessarily going to be smooth or easy or even guaranteed for that matter. So I think we need to accept perfectly imperfect. Obviously, you know, planning matters. We have to plan. We have to have our strategy documents. We have to have our budgets. But we know now that things can change without our control at all, and keep changing and keep changing. And I think it's made us all that much more adaptive, and that's how we need to keep looking at 21.
Yes, I have, like, I don't have a name, but a user says you can only have empathy through authenticity. That's a very good point. Jesse says he loves your style, dude, to JK.
Thanks,
I have
Jesse.
to agree. We're all discussing how we need our own special hats. So we had so many awesome, thoughtful responses for our article. Is there anything, any specific predictions? I'll start with you, JK. Anyone or a couple or something that, stuck out for you?
Sure, and it's so funny that you mentioned them, Ailey Judge, because that was the one that really stuck out to me. Ailey Judge and Alex Cheeseman, they both had very similar predictions about almost Gonzo style content. How things are going to be a little bit more when it comes to video content. It could be a little bit more unpolished and uncut, unedited, but quick to the point. An immediate connection with their audience via video. I think that's going to be a pretty big factor in 2021 because it kind of just goes right back to the authentic and empathy thing, like when you can make a connection and let people see that you don't have to have a highly produced video or an edited down video for a certain amount of time. It could be 30 seconds of you just saying, hey, this is my thought for the day, or hey, this is some really good content or content idea that I had, and getting it directly to your audience. I think that is going to be a major factor in 2021.
Yes. Going to some of our comments here, Arlene says authenticity really seems to be the theme going into 2021. She's heard this brought up a lot. This is kind of interesting. Sherry says, I think we need to add more insights for our audiences regarding where our markets are and how COVID has impacted them. I think that's also a very important point as well.
For sure.
So Stephanie, do you have any particular predictions that stuck out for you?
So there were so many great ones, and it's kind of like you're asking me to pick my favorite child or something, and that's really hard. But a few really stuck out to me. MJ DePalma from Microsoft, she talked all about marketing with a purpose. And I think ultimately what JK was saying and some of the predictions that stood out to him and what a lot of us are saying is that it really comes down to building trust. And that's what her prediction was about. If you are marketing with a purpose and you are letting not just your CEOs take the lead on that, but to educate your entire company about what that means for your organization, whatever it might be, whatever your purpose might be. And what I really liked about her prediction is that she says it basically will turn content marketers into story doing and not just storytelling. So it's, if you're going to talk the talk, then also walk it and do these things that you're telling stories about. So I love that story doing instead of just storytelling. So that one really stood out. And there were a few more too that around that theme of, social responsibility, purposeful marketing, and that sort of thing that I think, really hit home for a lot of companies.
Absolutely. Again, everyone, if you have questions or comments, feel free to leave them for us. Like I said, we love to hear from you guys. One of the predictions I think is also probably on top of mind for a lot of people is the fact, Robert Rose, I think, said this, like, content marketers are going to be expected to do a lot more this year. So I don't know, Stephanie, if you can speak to, like, you manage a team of people, how that's going to kind of play out.
Yeah, I mean, I think as we've seen traditional advertising continue to decline, it really has put more pressure on content marketers. And believe me, many of them are rising to the occasion. I mean, I said this in a blog a few months back, that content marketing really is poised to be a shining star in all of what we're dealing with, because this is our opportunity to connect with audiences, to build a relationship with audiences, to create fun, entertaining, educational, whatever it might be, content in multiple forms. And I think there is going to be an expectation that that content has to be amazing. Mediocre content will not cut it in this quickly growing digital world that we've all found ourselves in. All of that was kind of happening even before COVID, and the pandemic really accelerated it. So now we have an expectation to meet, and I think individuals will look to brands with the same kind of lens that they look to when making their own personal purchases, for example. So our marketing's got to be great. It's got to stand out.
A couple other comments here. Yes, trust. I think trust and authenticity are particularly important when our audiences are feeling vulnerable due to COVID, the economy, racial tensions, etc. As Rob says, along those lines, marketing in context of biological and racial pandemics, meeting people where they are emotionally. So I think that really resonates with a lot of people. All right, so this has been a really great discussion today with you guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, Stephanie will actually be talking even more predictions tomorrow on our Content Marketing Institute. We have a Twitter chat every Tuesday at noon. If you've never joined in on that, we have a really awesome community who shares just a great community, and everybody shares some really great insights and experiences. Tomorrow at noon, we use the hashtag CMWorld. So please join us there as well. You can see more of this article that we published with these great predictions on our website, contentmarketinginstitute.com. Let's see, I'm gonna look at my notes here. This is our last live stream of the year, but we will be back next year. We were talking about just doing video. We're just sort of starting our live streams. So we're just been testing it out here on the fly and see how it goes. So we plan to do even more in 2021. Actually, we're going to start doing an Ask the CMI Team Anything. That should be interesting. So a different team member each week. I think, JK, are you talking about creativity one week?
Yes. Yep.
So he'll be on talking about that.
Yep.
If you guys have any topics you want us to cover, comment, send us a message, let us know. We love to hear. We want to give you guys what you want, so please let us know. We will also be, these two I think are going to be fun as well. We'll be sharing, our blog editor will actually edit a piece live on the air here. That's really cool. And we will share tips on how you can get published on the CMI blog. So thank you guys so much for joining me. Thanks to everyone who joined us from everywhere, all over the world. So we really appreciate it. And we hope you have a great rest of the year. And I'm hopeful for 2021. Hopefully you guys are as well. So we will see you all back here next year. See ya.
Take care.
Everybody. Thanks, Amanda.
Thanks, Stephanie.